Hello everyone. Moving on towards the mandibular major connector. So in my last videos I have covered about the maxillary major connector and the general considerations for the major connector. So these all are the mandibular major connector. Starting off with the that is the lingual bar, which is also known as alveolar bar. So it is a commonly used one. It is a half pear shaped in cross section. So it is half pear shaped in cross section, and the thickest portion it is placed inferiorly. The portion that is present inferiorly is thickest. The minimum height of this major connector it should be 5 mm, and there should be 8 mm clearance from the floor of the mouth and 3 mm clearance from the gingival margin. It should be placed as inferiorly as possible for the proper movement of tongue. So what are the indications? So this is the commonly used one. So hence it can be used in all Kennedy's classes. The next indication is the lingual bar is the mandibular major connector of choice in sufficient bracing and indirect retention can be provided if there is if the clasp and the indirect retainers they can provide sufficient indirect retention and bracing. So lingual bar it can be used in such cases. If there are diastemas present, in that case you can use lingual bar, or if there are wide cervical embrasures and in overlapped anterior teeth. Contraindication if there is a inoperable tori which is present, if there is highly attached lingual frenum, if it causes interferences upon elevation of the floor of the mouth during functional movement. So it's like it gets elevated when there is functional movements, so it causes interferences at that time. So if there is less than 8 mm which is present between the marginal gingiva and the activated lingual frenum and the floor of the mouth, so if the measurement, if it is less than 8 mm, if it is present less than 8 mm between the marginal gingiva and the floor of the mouth, so in that case you cannot use lingual bar. The next is only a few remaining anterior teeth which must be contacted to provide a reference for fitting the framework and indirect retention. So if there are limited remaining teeth present, then in lingually inclined teeth, then if there is an undercut which is present, in that case you cannot use lingual bar. Advantages, it has minimal tissue coverage. Then second is it does not contact the teeth in any manner, hence there is no decalcification. Then the patient he prefer lingual bar to the lingual plate, probably because it is small in size. Then it is aesthetically pleasant. Disadvantages, it can be flexible if it is poorly constructed, and we want our major connectors to be rigid. And it is less rigid when compared to the lingual plate. It is difficult to add additional prosthetic teeth to the framework. Then it's like the construction of this lingual bar, it is relatively complicated because it's like the framework, it goes from thick at the major connector to thin at the bar to again thick, and this makes it complicated. So this is the lingual bar. Next is the lingual plate. It is also known as linguoplate or lingual apron. So it is similar to the lingual bar, but in this the superior border it extends up to the cingulum. So in that, now you have seen in lingual bar it was away from the teeth, like it was below the gingival margin, but in this lingual plate it, the superior border is extended up to the cingula. Then the chrome metal it is used because it is very rigid. It is made up of chrome metal. Then the superior border it is scalloped as it follows the contour of the teeth, and it has intimate contact. It has tight contact with the teeth and it produces a knife edge margin. So it can be used like if there are large embrasures and spacing present, then in that case what you can do is the superior border it is made to dip down, and this is known as step back design over here. So see the difference between these two. So this is step back if there are like diastema present, or in case if there is spacing which is present between the teeth, in that case what you can do is not diastema, but if there is spacing which is present, so what you can do is the borders they are dipped down so it is not visible. The indication where lingual frenum is high, then residual ridges in class 1 arch which has undergone excessive resorption, then in stabilizing periodontally weak anterior teeth, when the future replacement of one or more incisor teeth will be facilitated by the addition of the retention loops. Contraindication if there is severe lingually inclined mandibular incisors. Then if there are mandibular teeth with wide embrasures and diastema, so it is a contraindication if there is diastema there is a contraindication of this lingual plate. If there are overlapped anterior teeth, then advantages, it is most rigid. It can be used in stabilizing the weakened teeth. When supported on each end of the anterior teeth, the rest it contributes to the action of indirect retention. Then it is simple to design, then easy to add additional prosthetic teeth, and it may prevent the supra-eruption of the teeth it contacts. Disadvantages is it covers tooth structures and gingival tissues. Then the metal coverage of the free gingival tissue and the teeth, it prevents the physiologic stimulation and the self-cleansing action of the this major connector of the denture basically. One is the sublingual bar. So it is the modification of the lingual bar, but the position of this sublingual bar, it is inferiorly. So it is placed inferiorly and posteriorly to the usual location of the lingual bar, and it is lying over the parallel to the anterior floor of the mouth. Indications, if there is like where the height of the floor of the mouth, it does not allow the placement of the superior border of the bar at least 4 mm below the free gingival margin. So in that case, you have to use sublingual bar. If there are severely undercuts present in distal extension, if there are diastemas and open cervical embrasures, overlapped anterior teeth, and if there is intolerance to other lingual major connectors. So these all are the indications of sublingual. So you can see over here again it is half pear shape, but it is placed inferiorly than the lingual bar. Contraindication is if there is interfering lingual tori, if there is high frenum attachment, if the floor of the mouth it is highly elevated during the functional movements, and in cases of severe lingually tilted anterior teeth. Advantages, it does not contact the anterior teeth. Then more aesthetics than the lingual major connector because of its location. It is more rigid than the lingual bar. Disadvantages, it requires border molding, impression of the floor of the mouth for accurate placement of the major connector. It is difficult to add prosthetic teeth, and most patients they prefer for the lingual plate to a sublingual bar because of its position again. Then the next is double lingual bar, or it is also known as Kennedy's bar, that is lingual bar with cingulum bar. So it is also called as lingual bar with the cingulum bar. So it differs from the lingual plate in that the middle portion is taken off. So over here, the middle portion, in this, the middle portion is taken off when you are comparing it with the lingual plate. The lower part, it is spear shaped. So the lower part is spear shaped. Now it is double lingual. So there are two things. So there are two bars which are present. So the lower one, it is half pear shaped, and the upper one is the half oval, and the measurement is 2 to 3 mm high and 1 mm thick. So in cases if there is diastema present, again you can do this step back design. Then the upper bar, it should not run straight, instead it should dip down in the embrasure, like same we have seen for the last cases. If there is spacing which is present. So two bars, they are connected with the help of a minor connector. So there are these two bars and they are connected with the help of a minor connector between the canine and the premolar. Then where lingual plate is otherwise indicated, but there is axial alignment of the anterior teeth. If your anterior teeth, they are axially aligned, in that case what you have to do is you have to give excessive blockouts. It contributes to horizontal stabilization, and it effectively extends the indirect retention in the anterior direction. So it helps in indirect retention too. Indications, situations where the major connector must contact the natural teeth to provide the bracing and indirect retention. Contraindication, where a lingual bar or a lingual plate will suffice. Any contraindication, so basically it's like whatever the contraindications were there for lingual bar and lingual plate, it applies same for the double lingual bar except open embrasures. Then contraindication again is diastema. Advantages is more rigid, it covers less tooth. Disadvantages, very complex design, and it may be questionable to the patient because there are four edges which are exposed to the tip of the tongue. So here as you can see, there are four edges which are exposed to the tongue, and because of that it can cause discomfort. The next is the cingulum bar. Cingulum, it is located on or slightly above the cingulum. Cingulum, as the name says, so it is located on the cingulum. It may be alone, used alone, or with the lingual bar. Again, in cases of diastema or spacing, step back design can be used. Indication, if there is improper axial alignment of the anterior teeth. If there is gingival recession, If there are inoperable tori, in that cases you can use cingulum bar because of its position. It is positioned on the teeth itself. Contraindication if there is severely lingually tilted anterior teeth. If there are wide diastema present, you cannot use cingulum bar. Then advantages, it can be used where lingual bar and lingual plate cannot be used. It does not transverse the marginal gingiva or it overlays the lingual alveolus. It is easy to add prosthetic teeth, and disadvantages, it must be bulky to have sufficient rigidity. Then labial, it is similar to the lingual bar, but it is placed on the labial surface and it is broader and thicker than the lingual bar. It is also half pear shaped in cross section. It is generally longer than the lingual bar. So indication, if there is severe lingually inclination of the remaining mandibular premolar and the anterior teeth. If there are large inoperable tori, if there is severe and abrupt lingual tissue undercuts, and in cases of diastema and opus cervical hemorrhages, contraindicating a lingual plate, you can use a labial bar. Contraindications are if there are a lingual major connector can be used. In that case, you don't have to use a labial. Then if there are any facial tori present, if there is a facial alveolar ridge undercut present, and if there is high facial muscle attachment, which would result in less than 3 mm of the space between the gingival margin and the superior edge of the labial bar. Advantages, it can be used where lingual major connectors cannot be used, but disadvantages, first is aesthetics, poor aesthetic, as it is placed labially. So if the patient talks, smiles, it can be appeared, and because of that, it results in poor aesthetics. Then there is difficulty in adding prosthetic teeth, and a labial major connector is longer than the lingual major connector, and therefore it must be wider and or thicker, or it is larger to provide the necessary rigidity. So these all are the advantages of the labial bar. The last one is the swing lock design. So it is a modification to the lingual plate. It has a hinged labial bar and it is proposed by J.J. Simon in 1963. So it is basically a modification of the lingual plate. So it appears as a lingual plate, but it is placed labially. The labial bar, it does not require bulk of the conventional labial bar for rigidity. Now this labial swing lock design, so this labial bar, it does not require that much of bulk of conventional. How much we require for the labial bar, we do not require it for the swing lock. Then it consists of a labial bar which is connected to a major connector. So this is basically a labial bar which is connected to the major connector, where it is connected by a hinge joint on one side, and on the other side it has a latch, that is the locking device. So the hinge action, it permits it to be positioned more closely against the gingival tissue. At times it can even positioned in undercuts. So what are the indications? First is if there are missing key abutments. So if your abutments are only missing, in that case you can use the swing lock. If there are unfavorable tooth and soft tissue contours, if teeth, they have questionable prognosis, in that case you can use swing lock. Then if there are labially proclined anterior abutments, if your anterior abutments, they are labially proclined. And in periodontally compromised teeth that require splinting, in that case again you can use swing lock. What are the contraindication? First is poor oral hygiene. So now you can see as this design, so it has this many, like it has many spacing which is present, and it has this hinge joint locking device on the either sides. Because of that, if the patient he has poor oral hygiene, so in that case you cannot give this swing lock. And the next one is presence of shallow or labial vestibule. Again it becomes a contraindication for swing lock. These were all the major connectors, mandibular major connectors, which we use in removal partial dentures. So these all are the references for these notes. Thank you so much.